We've always had the fire pit areas and picnic areas where you can reserve a bit of a private space. So we have a limited number of space for that. So we use YouCanBookMe to fill those spaces and keep the turnover nice and quick.
Today I am joined by Jesse Kraay, who is the leader of the Edmonton Corn Maze in Canada. Tell us about the Corn Maze, what you do and why you do it.
We have a big field of corn, about 10 acres, and we cut paths in there every spring and we let the corn grow. And then we cut a fancy design in there. It's a big maze, 10-foot tall corn. And then throughout the summer and fall, we invite visitors in and they wander around and get lost and try and find their way back out.
And how many visitors do you get a year?
It depends on the year, a little bit on the weather, but right around 50,000 people usually.
That's amazing. And so tell me a little bit about how this came about. So, I mean, it's a big field and it's not just paths. I mean, you've got a massive design in it. It's beautifully done and it's a different one every year. So how did the whole thing come about and how does it become such a landmark thing in Edmonton?
Basically 25 years ago, me and a buddy were just finishing university and looking for something to do with our lives. And my parents had started a corn maze about an hour and a half south of us here, and they had done it for 1 year and had success. So we thought we would try it here. So we drove around the countryside looking for a field that we could use, and we found someone that we knew who had some ground that we could plant corn in. So we planted the corn and cut the design in, and 25 years later, we're still doing the same thing.
And so no farming background in the family or anything other than this one year with your parents?
Yeah, my parents, I grew up on a hog farm, but not growing any crops or anything. So we kind of leaned on some people we knew and trial and error.
And so tell me about that learning process. What were some of the journeys you had?
Yeah, we had lots of people that some farmers who we rented the land off of, and they were happy to help. And we used just experience that we had from the community and put the seed in the ground in the spring. And we suspected it would work, but you never know. There's not a whole lot of corn grown this far north, so it was a bit unique, but it ended up working well.
You say you had 50,000 people this past year in 2025. What was your first crowd like?
It was closer to 10,000.
So you had the 10,000 the first time. Clearly that was a great result. But at what point did you think this has got legs? We can be doing this for a long time. Was there a point at which you knew like you were having to hire new people or?
We didn't know what else we were going to do. So we kind of just keep sticking it out every year. And there's been some years where it hasn't been as great with weather and other things, but you kind of have the opportunity to start over every year, which is nice that we can keep things sharp and fresh. And we still enjoy it after 25 years. So it's good.
And so you've got other things too. You've got the sunflower patch, you've got Halloween specific rather than kind of seasonal specific things. Is that right?
Yeah, we got a bunch of other activities with farm animals and jumping pillows and sunflowers, pumpkins. The maze is a part of the trip, but it's also to get out of the city, experience a bit of farm life, and just experience some fresh air and get out of the busyness.
So tell me a little bit about how you get customers, and have you moved kind of to social media more? Is there an area where you find this is where people pick up on what you're doing? Is it word of mouth?
It's a mixture of word of mouth and social media, probably the majority. We get a bit of regular media coverage, but word of mouth is probably the best. They share pictures. They like being out in the sunflowers and the pumpkins, and once they get home, they share those photos and those experiences, and then people come make a plan for the next week or the week after, and it grows that way.
So let's talk a little bit about YouCanBookMe. As I mentioned, you use YouCanBookMe to schedule kind of large groups that are coming. So what's the need for you there? When did you realize that you needed that?
We've always had the fire pit areas where you can and picnic areas where you can reserve a bit of a private space. So we have a limited number of space for that. So we use YouCanBookMe to fill those spaces and keep the turnover nice and quick, where people can book a couple hours at a time. They get a fire pit, picnic table, and then they can use that in a bit more private experience.
And so are those private groups? We're talking about schools, like who is the most common people using that? And where do they find your booking link?
Yeah, it's on our website, and we just direct to the groups. If anyone's looking for a group of roughly kind of 20 plus people, we send them there. They can pick the time and slots. It's all sorts of different groups. We get lots of school groups, lots of youth groups. We get corporate groups, some families. Some people just want to come out and with a few families and enjoy the barbecue and just do that kind of stuff. So
the fire pits, can they cook their own food and stuff on it?
You got fire pits there and picnic tables, and you can bring food in or whatever you want to do. And so
you've been with YouCanBookMe for 12 years, since 2013. and you've taken more than 2,000 bookings. So that's just a group. That's a good set. Tell me about what were you doing before 2013? Obviously, much less digital.
Yeah, we had a couple pieces of paper and our phones, and sometimes you'd sit there and you would not remember phone call or a message from weeks before. Yeah, there was a few times when you double book something or you don't expect someone showing up at a certain time, and so this has been great for keeping things organized. And the front staff, they know who's coming when. There's contact information. If things change, we can easily contact them. So it's been really good.
And so what about notifications? Do you send reminders and things like that?
Right before a couple of days before or whatever, we send it out, and some extra information too about admission costs and some of the common frequently asked questions. The more information they can have in their hands, it makes it easier than playing phone tag and trying to answer questions. So that's really good.
I noticed you've got your 2026 page already created, not online yet, obviously, but
Yeah.
already ready to
So
go. You're set.
there's people planning next year already. So some people are eager to get going. So we'll go live with that soon, and then they can start booking up the weekends.
With the follow-up email, do you send a follow-up to people who booked before to say 6 months later you can book now for next year or something like that?
Don't, and that's something that I think we'll look into, that we can follow up that way and keep it front of mind for them too.
What are the things that kind of you're really thinking about at the moment for your business and how it's running it?
Just planning for the next year, like you're always thinking ahead of time, making sure that thinking ahead a year ahead, and then thinking ahead a day ahead or a week ahead, just to make sure everything's ready to go for when people show up. You got to be thinking 2 steps ahead, which is sometimes easier than done. So yeah, it's probably the planning and thinking, making sure you got staff lined up and all the stuff ahead of time.
That's a good point about staff. So you obviously have to kind of ramp up before you open the doors to everybody. So is there like a training session? Like, how do you get them involved?
We've got a lot of kids who keep coming back every year. So it's a seasonal job, but they're happy to, kids are looking for work and they're happy to come out. So we, depending on the need, we train them, and we fill the slots. And then, as it gets busier and busier, they ramp up into the busy season too. And it's always fun to be busy dealing with people that way. So
and so it's a real hospitality kind of business, isn't it? They're dealing with people. They're having to encourage people to move along. Or
I say I'm a farmer, but actually I'm not doing much farming anymore. It's mostly dealing with people and that kind of stuff, which is it's good too.
If you had one piece of business advice for somebody, any business that wanted to start up, what would you recommend?
I would say just go do it. If you have an idea, give it a try. You never know. Things takes time usually, but if you don't try, then you don't know either.
Next point I want to do is the would you rather questions, if you don't mind. So so would you rather throw out your phone or your laptop?
Well, I'd rather throw out my phone.
And why is that?
It's just always there. It'd be nice to not have it there, and then you wouldn't be forced to look at it.
Would you rather get a new customer or double your sales to an existing customer?
I think an existing customer, it probably is. Once you have an existing customer that with a good experience, they'll hopefully tell someone else, and then you'll get a new one as well.
Definitely word of mouth seems like it's a huge driver for your business. So that makes perfect sense. Would you rather speak at a huge conference or make a new sale?
I'll make a new sale. Yeah. I'm not a huge public speaker, so we'll take the sale.
And would you rather work with a team of experts or passionate learners?
Passionate learners. I think someone who's excited and passionate about anything is kind of fun. Kind of get a blank slate that way too. So the unknown is kind of exciting.
And would you rather be known for product quality or customer service?
Customer service, I think. If you have good customer service, I think that people remember that. And product is important too, but the service is good.
And your particular product is definitely reliant on external forces, aren't they, in many ways? So things like the weather and things like that. So if it's a bad weather day, or it's a bad crop, like what would make a bad crop?
We've had some years where you don't get much rain and the corn isn't as tall as we would like. But for us, it's harder on us than it is on the people visiting. Yeah. They're out there to have fun and spend time with their family and friends. So they quite often don't even notice what to us feels like a really poor crop and not quite the product we want, but they aren't necessarily there for that. So that's good.
And how tall should the perfect corn be in that?
It's probably like 8 to 10 feet tall.
Oh, wow. Thank you again so much, Jesse, for joining me again. And I really appreciate it. It was lovely talking to you. And thank you very, very much for using YouCanBookMe for so long. We really appreciate it.
It's been good. Thank you.